The psychology of decision-making, how we make choices. Hey there, and welcome to our video on the psychology of decision-making. We make hundreds of decisions every day, from what to wear in the morning to what to eat for dinner. But have you ever wondered why we make the choices we do? In this video, we'll be exploring the fascinating world of decision-making and the psychology behind it. Part 1. The factors that influence our decisions. There are many factors that influence our decisions, including our emotions, beliefs, values, and past experiences. We'll be discussing each of these factors in detail and how they impact our decision-making processes. Emotions. Our emotions play a significant role in decision-making. Emotions such as fear, joy, anger, and sadness can all impact our choices. For example, if we are feeling anxious, we may be more likely to choose a safe option, even if it's not the best one. Alternatively, if we are feeling happy, we may be more likely to take risks. Beliefs. Our beliefs also shape our decision-making. Our beliefs about ourselves, others, and the world can all impact our choices. For example, if we believe that we are capable and competent, we may be more likely to take on challenges. Alternatively, if we believe that the world is a dangerous place, we may be more cautious in our decisions. Values. Our values are the principles that guide our behavior and decision-making. Our values can be cultural, social, or personal. For example, if we value honesty, we may be more likely to tell the truth, even if it's not in our best interest. Alternatively, if we value success, we may be more likely to take risks to achieve our goals. Past experiences. Our past experiences also influence our decision-making. Our experiences shape our beliefs, values, and emotions, which all impact our choices. For example, if we have had a negative experience in the past, we may be more cautious in similar situations in the future. Social influence. The people around us can also impact our decision-making. We may be influenced by our family, friends, colleagues, or even strangers. For example, if our friends are all going to a particular restaurant, we may be more likely to choose that restaurant, even if it's not our first choice. Environment. The environment we are in can also impact our decision-making. The physical environment, such as the lighting, noise level, and temperature, can all impact our choices. For example, if we are in a dark, quiet room, we may be more likely to make conservative decisions. Alternatively, if we are in a bright, noisy room, we may be more likely to take risks. The social environment, such as the culture, norms, and rules, can also impact our choices. For example, if we are in a culture that values conformity, we may be more likely to make choices that align with the group. Part 2. The cognitive processes involved in decision-making. When we make decisions, our brains go through a series of cognitive processes, including perception, attention, memory, and reasoning. We'll be exploring each of these processes and how they contribute to our decision-making. Perception. Perception is the process by which we interpret sensory information from our environment. This includes visual, auditory, and tactile information. Our perception of the world around us can influence our decisions. For example, if we perceive a situation as dangerous, we may be more cautious in our decision-making. Attention. Attention is the process by which we focus our cognitive resources on a particular stimulus or task. Our attentional focus can impact our decision-making. For example, if we are distracted by other stimuli while making a decision, we may not fully consider all of the available options. Memory. Memory is the process by which we store and retrieve information. Our memory of past experiences can impact our decision-making. For example, if we have had a negative experience with a particular product or service in the past, we may be less likely to choose it in the future. Reasoning. Reasoning is the process by which we evaluate information and draw conclusions. Our reasoning abilities can impact our decision-making. For example, if we are presented with a complex decision, we may need to use more advanced reasoning skills to make the best choice. Decision-making heuristics. Decision-making heuristics are mental shortcuts that we use to make decisions quickly and efficiently. While heuristics can be helpful in certain situations, they can also lead to biases and errors in decision-making. For example, the availability heuristic is the tendency to rely on easily available information when making a decision, even if that information may not be the most accurate or relevant. Part 3. Common biases in decision making. We'll also be discussing some of the common biases that can affect our decision making, such as confirmation bias, hindsight bias, and anchoring bias. We'll explain what these biases are and how they can impact the decisions we make. Confirmation bias. Confirmation bias is the tendency to seek out information that confirms our pre-existing beliefs or opinions while ignoring information that contradicts them. This can lead to inaccurate or incomplete decision-making. For example, if we believe that a certain product is the best on the market, we may only seek out positive reviews and ignore negative reviews. Hindsight bias. Hindsight bias is the tendency to believe, after an event has occurred, that we could have predicted the outcome. This can lead us to overestimate our own abilities and make overly confident decisions. For example, after a successful investment, we may believe that we knew it was a sure thing all along, even if we had doubts at the time. Anchoring bias. Anchoring bias is the tendency to rely too heavily on the first piece of information we receive when making a decision, even if it is not the most relevant or accurate. This can lead to skewed decision-making. For example, if we are told the price of a product is $1,000, we may be more likely to view a similar product that costs $900 as a good deal, even if it's not. Availability bias. Availability bias is the tendency to rely on information that is readily available in our memory when making a decision, even if it is not the most accurate or relevant. This can lead to inaccurate decision-making. For example, if we are trying to make a decision about a new car and we recently saw a commercial for a particular brand, we may be more likely to choose that brand, even if it's not the best fit for our needs. Framing bias. Framing bias is the tendency to be influenced by the way information is presented, rather than the information itself. This can lead to biased decision-making. For example, if a product is marketed as all natural, we may perceive it as healthier or more beneficial, even if it is not. Sunk cost fallacy. Sunk cost fallacy is the tendency to continue investing in a decision or project because of the resources, time, money, effort already invested, even if it is no longer rational to do so. This can lead to poor decision-making. For example, if we have already spent a lot of money on a faulty car, we may continue to invest in repairs even if it would be more financially sound to buy a new car. Recognizing these biases can help us make more informed decisions. By being aware of our own tendencies towards confirmation bias, hindsight bias, anchoring bias, availability bias, framing bias, and sunk cost fallacy, we can work to make more objective and rational decisions. Part 4. Using psychology to make better decisions. Finally, we'll be discussing how we can use our knowledge of decision-making psychology to make better choices in our everyday lives. We'll provide practical tips and strategies for making more informed decisions and avoiding common biases. Take a step back. One of the best ways to avoid common biases is to take a step back and assess the situation objectively. This can help us see the bigger picture and make more rational decisions. By taking a break or even seeking out the opinions of others, we can gain a fresh perspective and make more informed decisions. Consider alternatives. When making a decision, it's important to consider multiple options and weigh the pros and cons of each. This can help us avoid confirmation bias and make more informed decisions. We can even try to imagine ourselves in different scenarios to get a better sense of what the outcomes might be. Use data and facts. Using data and facts can help us avoid biases such as anchoring bias and framing bias. By gathering as much information as possible, we can make more informed decisions that are based on evidence, rather than emotions or preconceived notions. Embrace uncertainty. It's important to recognize that there is often a level of uncertainty involved in decision-making. Instead of trying to eliminate uncertainty completely, we can learn to embrace it and make decisions based on the best information available. This can help us avoid biases such as hindsight bias and sunk cost fallacy. Conclusion. So, there you have it, the psychology of decision-making. We hope this video has provided you with a better understanding of how we make choices and how we can use this knowledge to make better decisions. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.